Very good day to all of you. Today we will talk about high performance thin layer chromatography, that is HPTLC. Among the modern analytical tools, HPTLC is a powerful analytical method equally suitable for qualitative and quantitative analytical tasks. HPTLC is playing an important role in today's analytical world, not in a competition to HPLC, but as a complementary method. HPTLC produces visible chromatograms and complex information about the entire sample at a glance. Multiple samples are seen simultaneously so that reference and test samples can be compared for identification. Dear learners, as you are aware with thin layer chromatography, based on similar lines, let us have a look on following points as a part of experimental procedure involved in HPTLC. Experimental step involves sample preparation, selection of adsorbent and plates, activation and conditioning, remove impurities associated with plates, sample application, mobile phase and chamber saturation, chromatographic development, detection of spots, scanning and documentation. Now we'll try to explore individual step. Here sample preparation represents analyte or solute which we have to analyze from mixture, and key fact is that in a chromatography the compounds to be separated must be soluble in the mobile phase and capable of interacting with the stationary phase either by dissolving in it or by getting adsorbed on it or by reacting with it chemically. Therefore, there is a distribution of compounds between the two phases. Stationary phase, that is selection of adsorbent used in a HPLC, is a silica gel or alumina. In addition to silica plates, C8 or C18 plates are also available commercially. The most preferred and the frequently used stationary phase in HPTLC is silica gel. The particle size of the stationary phase is in the range of 2 to 7 micrometer. The thickness of the stationary phase is about 0.2 mm. The smaller the thickness of the stationary phase allows higher resolution and faster separation of compounds, and nowadays pre-coated plates are available in the market. Activation or conditioning. After making thin layer on a plates, the next step is to remove liquid associated with thin layer. It is done by drying the thin layer plate for 30 minutes in air and then in an oven at 110 degrees centigrade for another 30 minutes. Drying makes the adsorbent layer active. Remove impurities. Sometimes silica gel G, whereas G represents gypsum playing role as a binder, contains iron as an impurity. So iron free layers have been obtained by giving the coated and air dried plates a preliminary development with methanol and concentrated HCl 9:1 volume by volume proportion. The iron gets migrated with the solvent front to the upper edge of the plate. Plates are again dried and activated at 110 degrees centigrade. Sample application. The plate is positioned on the movable stage with the help of an aluminum lever. The stage moves automatically to the positions where the samples are spotted on the plate. A number of vials are filled with the sample solutions and placed in the vial rack. With the help of syringe, each sample is spotted in the form of a band and not as a circular spot as in a case of a TLC. Under the pressure of nitrogen gas. The pressure of about 60 to 90 pounds per square inch, that is 4 to 6 bar. The special automatic sample applicators are made use of for this purpose, have a certain advantages, such as the bands are positioned accurately on the plate, the accurate sample volumes are delivered, and sharp peaks are obtained in the chromatogram. Mobile phase and chamber saturation. Like other chromatographic techniques, the mobile phase used in HPTLC is either a single solvent or a mixture of solvents. The common organic solvents like chloroform, methanol, toluene, acetonitrile, etc. can be used as a mobile phase. The mobile phase at a room temperature is passed through the plate under normal pressure, and to avoid unequal loss of solvent due to evaporation, chamber saturation is required, which makes better impact on separation by covering mobile phase with a suitable lid or cover on a developing chamber. Chromatographic development. As you are well acquainted with chromatographic development techniques such as ascending, descending, two-dimensional, we can go ahead with any one suitable technique for better separation and resolution. Detection of spots, scanning and documentation, that is quantitative estimation by HPTLC. The developed plates are observed in the UV cabinet using wavelength 254 nanometer or 365 nanometer for identifying the isolated compounds. For quantitative analysis, scanner is used. Advantages of scanner. As a scanner provides measurement at a wavelength 200 to 800 nanometer, so that quantitative estimation of different compounds at their maximum wavelength can be carried out. In the scanner, each sample band is brought in the path of required wavelength, and the interaction of solute with the wavelength is recorded quantitatively, without the removal of an isolated spot from the stationary phase. Thus, the scanner makes possible in situ and accurate identification by HPTLC. The quantification of the separated compounds on the plate itself makes HPTLC more accurate, and hence it is a very commonly used for quantitative estimation of compounds. The instrument used for the quantitative estimation of compounds by HPTLC known as scanning densitometer. A scanning densitometer has the following components such as light source, collimating system, monochromator, converging lens, detector and stepping motor. Light source. Scanning densitometer makes use of source of radiation required to be focused on the separated compounds. So hydrogen lamp, mercury vapor lamp or xenon discharge lamp is used. As you are aware, advantages and disadvantages of these sources of radiation as discussed under UV visible spectrophotometry. A collimating lens, a beam of radiation coming out from an entrance slit is made parallel before it enters the monochromator by passing it through a collimating lens. Monochromator in the form of either a prism or a gratings is commonly used in a densitometers. Either a single or double monochromator is used depending on the type of densitometer. A monowavelength densitometer makes use of a single monochromator, whereas dual wavelength densitometer makes use of two monochromators. A converging lens to concentrate or focus the beams. A beam of radiation coming out from the monochromator is converged by passing it through a converging lens in order to focus it on the compounds separated on the plate. The beam, when gets reflected back, falls on the detector. In order to find the concentration of the separated compounds accurately, an effective detector such as photomultiplier tube having diodes arranged in an increasing potential is employed for the measurement of the intensity of the reflected beam. A signal produced by the detector indicates the concentration of compound present in that spot. Whereas stepping motor in HPTLC, compounds in the sample are separated at different positions on the plate. In order to bring each spot in the focus of converged beam of radiation, an additional device called stepping motor is used in a densitometers. A stepping motor moves a plate under the focus light beam in order to scan the plate. Types of densitometers. Densitometers are of different types, which are single beam densitometer, double beam densitometer and dual wavelength densitometer. So dear learners, kindly note, this will be our second assignment on a topic, type of densitometers used in HPTLC. As you understood role of densitometer in this session, You have to just describe all these 3 resistor with a suitable diagram and submit before our next session. Dear learners, now you have enough information about TLC and HPTLC chromatographic technique. You can easily list out drawbacks of TLC and comparison points with the HPTLC. Before moving on these points, first of all, just give a thought on factors influencing TLC or HPTLC separation, such as type of stationary phase, mobile phase, layer thickness and binders in the layer, solvent purity, size and shape of developing chamber, amount of sample to be spotted, chamber saturation, size of spot applied, solvent level and development level in chamber, relative humidity and temperature, and development distance. And the last point is about mode of development. I am sure during reading of each point you actually visualize each step, and that's the perfect understanding of concept. I am happy you all are doing well. Dear learners, try to understand comparison of TLC with HPTLC. Thin layer chromatography is very widely used for the analysis of complex mixtures of a natural origin. Though it is a cheap and simple, it suffered from certain drawbacks, such as its surfaces cannot be modified easily, that is, the polarity of the stationary phase cannot be modulated. It is a semi-quantitative technique. It can be made quantitative, but the method is tedious and may involve some errors in it. So, taking into account the drawbacks of TLC, HPTLC provided improved support materials or the sorbents as the stationary phases and direct quantification by instrumental methods. The main difference between HPTLC and the conventional TLC is the particle size of the stationary phase. The smaller particle size 2 to 7 micrometer is used in HPTLC as compared to that in a TLC, that is 150 to 250 micrometer. Also, the pore size is more uniform in a HPTLC as compared to that in a TLC. Thickness of the stationary phase is 0.2 mm as against 1 to 2 mm in a TLC. This greatly reduces the time of analysis, that is 1 to 5 minutes per sample, and increase the performance in HPTLC. In conventional TLC, the solid support most widely used is a silica gel or alumina. Recent developments in HPTLC have expanded the solid supports from silica to many bonded phases. This can provide a surface for reverse phase chromatography. Thus, in addition to silica plates, C8 or C18 plates are also available commercially. A major drawback of HPTLC is the small sample capacity. To obtain optimum resolution and sensitivity in HPTLC, the band should be no greater than 3 to 6 mm in a width, and this can accommodate a sample size of only 6 to 20 microliter. For delivering a such small quantity to a plate, devices are required to be used, such as Hamilton syringe coupled to a micrometer screw or a platinum iridium capillary. As in a TLC, ascending, descending, circular and horizontal developments of plates are possible in HPTLC also, but in addition, a simultaneous flow from opposite directions may also be applied in a HPTLC. This is possible because the sample can be spotted in 2 rows at the center of the plate and the mobile phase is passed in 2 opposite directions. Thus, this technique essentially doubles the number of samples that can be run at a time as compared to that in a TLC. As many as 20 samples can be analyzed at a time per plate by using a technique of HPTLC. So, dear students, thank you very much for watching this important session on HPTLC. Have a nice time with the thought of the day by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Happiness is a perfume you cannot pour on others without getting a few drops on yourself.